Hey guys, I'm Dav, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. We're back with Shadow's YouTuber tournament. Today I'm going to be taking on Zardar Total War in a Bretonnia versus Empire matchup, so we're going to have Clash of Men here. Definitely in for a great time, so big thanks once again to Shadow Online Gaming for organizing the tournament. I'll leave a link down below, as always, to his channel. You guys should go check it out. He's going to be casting all the various games from the different series, so if you want to catch all the games in one place, that's the spot to do it. I'll also have a link to Zardar's channel here. He does a lot of Legendary campaign in particular. He's also going to be showing off the games from this tournament as well, so definitely go give him a look also. Without further ado, let's go to the army builds. I've got the Fey Enchantress and a front line of mostly peasants here. We've got spearmen at arms, no shields, just a couple of polearms as well, and 2 foot squires. Decided to bring these guys just to help clear up Empire infantry. You know, I'm not terribly a big fan of them, but we'll see how they can do today. We've also got 2 units of Grail Guardians, as well as the obligatory 2 Grail Knights, one here and one way over on the hill, over on the other side. So, for the Empire, we've got Volkmar the Grim on his chariot, looking fly as ever. For infantry, we've got a front line of spearmen with shields, rear line of great swords with the Sigmar Sons, 1 unit of halberdiers, 2 crossbowmen, a bright wizard with demigryph knights with halberds, which is actually a really nice play. Using this Flaming Sword of Ruin will allow these Demigryph Knights to trade even more efficiently with Grail Knights, or Grail tier units, because they will be getting that magic damage, and the fire damage also stacks with Kindle Flames, so they definitely get a nice damage boost there, so I like that quite a bit. In addition, we've also got 1 unit of Empire Knights hidden in the woods over here, and that's pretty much it. So without further ado, let the jousting tournament begin. Going to be a little bit of a jousting tournament. My opponent didn't bring too much heavy cavalry here. I've gone with a more infantry-centric build, but let's see how we're able to do. We're just going to be first maneuvering some things around. We're going to try and bring these Grail Knights up and around through the woods this way, so that we can maybe, you know, sneak up through here and get a nice sneak attack. Meanwhile, this other unit of Grail Knights just kind of holding here in the center, and I'm going to be pushing my infantry force down the hill this way. Zardar's doing what he should and starting to set up kind of in a defensive line to meet me. We're actually going to be fighting on relatively flat ground. There is some hills here to either side, which of course, anytime the cavalry get a downhill charge in particular, they will be very, very strong. You can see I'm not wanting to engage these Demigryph Knights with those Grail Knights head to head, because obviously with the flaming damage and the magic damage from the Bright Wizard, it is going to be a very bad engagement for me. But yeah, these Grail Knights here kind of still just hidden in the woods. And we're going to get the infantry lines lined up, so to speak, and start going to town here, just all across the front line. You can see my opponent is going to be maneuvering to meet me here. And yeah, unfortunately my guys don't have shields, so they're going to take quite a bit of damage to this crossbow fire. That being said, they're just peasants, so they're meant to catch all the arrows with their faces. And yeah, state troop spearmen are definitely superior troops to men-at-arms with spears. They just have better all-around combat stats, better leadership, better weapon strength, just at the end of the day, superior in every way. They're not that much more expensive either, so I definitely think that Empire State Troops are some of the most cost-effective infantry in the game for what they give you. That being said, they are a little bit flimsy, and obviously against these Grail Guardians here, they're going to suffer. The Great Swords will be able to do quite a bit of damage, but this entire pocket here is going to be great for the Fey Enchantress to get in and drain. You can see Volkmar is charging through the other side here, and we're going to be dropping a Comet right on top of these Spearmen and Great Swords that are all bunched up here in the center. So some really nice damage going down there. Meanwhile, Lore of Life being dropped to help keep all the guys in this pocket alive. The Grail Knights definitely took a sour end of that engagement, although we were able to beat out this unit of Demigryph Knights despite the support from Volkmar and the Fire Wizard there. That being said, Volkmar does cause terror when he's on his wagon, so he is going to be terror-routing away a lot of these peasant infantry, particularly once the Great Swords come in here and start to just clean their clock. It's going to be a pretty bad time for them. You can see the Grail Guardians a little bit exposed here. They really should be more on top of the Death Star with the Fey Enchantress, but a really nice banishment coming down from Volkmar. Going to be doing some devastating damage to my peasant units here. It does unfortunately do a little bit of friendly fire as well, but at the end of the day, that was probably worth it. You can see his crossbows are secure for now. We're pulling up and around with this other unit of Grail Knights here, and again, using that Flaming Sword of Ruin to give all these guys in here magic damage. There are just a few tattered great swords holding this, excuse me, holding this front line for now. You can see the Fanchantress is in here draining them and using her fancy spells to blast their heads, get those floppy hats out of there. But yeah, the Flaming Sword of Ruin is definitely going to help in this aspect. Volkmar is also going to come in for a rear charge. Thankfully, we've got the Grail Relic on station, so my guys are going to be immune to Psychology. That being said, a really nice Burning Head going down. That's going to do a lot of damage to all the peasant units and apply that burnt debuff, which will, you know, hurt their leadership. But at the end of the day, we're starting to win the infantry line a little bit here. You can see Foot Squires are not trading real well. Great Swords will definitely cut through them. Sigmar's Son still hanging on over on the far side here. These Grail Knights pulling in for a quick rear charge, and honestly I'm leaving them in a little bit too long against the Spearmen and so on, but I figure they should be okay. Balance power is honestly slightly in the Empire player's favor at this point, because he's still got these two very healthy units of spears. We did manage to sort of shoot this tiny little gap here with these Grail Knights and at least tie down these crossbowmen for a time while we try and clean up this main line. You can see this Bretonnian Death Ball is now in full force. We're just going to be pulling straight through and starting to just rampage around the back line. The Empire Knights also being activated at this point, coming from the woods. Very nice rear charge here, going to take out quite a few of these remaining peasant units. But that being said, once the Grail tier units turn around and start to deal damage, they will deal quite a bit of damage. Another really nice Flaming Sword of Ruin going down here, and another Chalice of Potions going down right on top of these Halberdiers and Great Swords. Does accidentally catch one of those Grail Knights there, but at the end of the day, that ended up doing a ton of damage to those state troops. Was definitely worthwhile. You can see the bounce power starting to creep back in my favor again, and we're going to bring in these Grail Knights for a nice rear charge here, getting into the back of these Empire Knights. I mean, Grail Knights are more than a match for Empire Knights. Much better combat stats, physical resistance, they have the bonus versus large, magic damage, and yeah, just all around going to outclass the Empire Knights here, especially with all the infantry support for Bretonnia. There is some infantry support for the Empire here as well, but every time that Fey Enchantress drops that Earthblood, it's just going to generate more and more value. Another really nice banishment coming down from my opponent, though. It's going to clean up a lot of the infantry left here. It doesn't do that much to cavalry, but it does do damage. You can see it actually took down one unit model there earlier, and can potentially, even then, took down another unit model there. So it does do some damage to cavalry, obviously not as good, but still a pretty decent cast there. And oh man, is it going to come back over? And oh man, didn't quite park right on top of him, but at the end of the day, still very, very close. You can see Volkmar using his chariot to push the Fanchantress around. But we've been able to win that cavalry advantage, which means I can kind of pull out and cycle charge more or less at my will, and that's going to allow me to start to crumble a lot of these state troops. You can see there's still a little bit of time left on the balance power, but these Halberdiers now routing, Spearmen routing, and yeah, these other Spearmen are now shattered. There are some Great Swords and some Spearmen coming back, but since they're not braced, we're just immediately going to punch in with the charge with the Grail Guardians and use that impact damage and charge bonus to try and finish them off here just by leadership. You can see they are taking some serious damage, and despite having done quite a bit of work themselves, are going to be taken down now. Same thing with these regrouped crossbowmen over on the far side, just using this very tattered unit of Grail Knights. They're with their perfect vigor. They're of course not going to get tired at all, and they'll be able to take down these crossbowmen even with their very tattered numbers, just because they are far superior combat stats, physical resistance, and all that, although they may break on leadership at this point just because they're so tattered. But you can see the Fanchantress is relatively healthy. Volkmar the Grim is mostly what's keeping the leadership of the Empire forces together at this point. These Empire cavalry had rallied, and we're going to bring in these Spearmen at Arms to just tie him down real quick. My opponent's saying this is going to try and pull away, as he should. And more healing, just again, so much value from the Fanchantress here, and the more healing procs, the more healing ticks go off, the more and more the balance power is going to swing in my favor. We have this other unit of Grail Guardians come out here and help dispatch the crossbowmen, and now we're just going to collapse on some of these other units in the area. So yeah, you can see we've got a few regrouped peasants as well, and at this point it's pretty much just finish off Volkmar and the state troops. So that thin line of regrouped halberdiers just getting absolutely pummeled. Man, look at that guy's hang time. He had some serious hang time, and we're immediately going to do the same to these crossbowmen. Just give them a flight to the next province over, and, you know, free of charge, no baggage included, though. And that is pretty much going to shatter the rest of these forces here. It's pretty much just Volkmar and these Empire Knights. Empire Knights are getting a nice little rear charge here, but then the Grail Guardians are going to turn around and let them know that they've clearly come to the wrong neighborhood. And, yeah, it's going to be a pretty brutal affair. The end of the day. We'll go ahead and fast forward through the late game as most of the Empire forces are shattered. At this point, it's just going to be grinding through Volkmar, so very well played to my opponent. It was a super close battle at the end of the day. You know, a few plays on either side going another way could have swung the balance of power and resulted in a different outcome, but all in all, a very close battle, very fun battle. Well played to Zardar, and man, Volkmar, true hero of the Empire. 167 kills, doing a ton of work with those banishments. Likewise, a 91 on these great swords is pretty solid. 69 and 36 here is all right. 30 and an XP Chevron for the Demigryph Knights, super solid. They definitely took out one of those units of Grail Knights pretty effectively. For myself, Foot Squire is kind of underwhelming here. The infantry overall just kind of meant to hold, but the real damage coming from the Grail Guardians and the Grail Knights. 158 on these Grail Guardians, 110 here, 163 on these Grail Knights, and 30 for these. These are the ones that got taken out by those demis early on, and then 68 for the Fanchantress herself. So again, well played to Zardar. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Be sure to check out Zardar and Shadow Online Gaming, links down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.